Hello, welcome to How to Play Rolling Pins, Advanced Edition, for any player count. Now in this game we got some new things to talk about. In particular, the gray pins are what you have to hit on your second ball in order to start gaining some special powers. The other way is to get a strike. You still have your plus or minus one roll adjuster, and anything not used, any of those not used, go to the next frame, and you can use them all at once or one at a time, it doesn't matter. So the special powers that occur on the first 5 frames, that you can acquire the first 5 frames, you have an instant strike if you roll a double 5. You have a re-roll that can be used once per game to re-roll the dice. You have once per game turn the dice to the opposite face icon. You also have once per game you may roll an extra dice, and then you also have once per game where you can cross an extra pin. After the 5th frame, you have instantaneous strikes that occur if you manage to get both gray pins, or at least one gray pin, on your second ball. So it kind of encourages you to take some risk and maybe intentionally miss on the first ball so you don't knock everything over. But as always, if you get a strike, you may go ahead and cross one of the boxes off. Now for the instant strike, you only need to do that once. For the re-roll, only need once. For the opposite side, you need 2. The extra dice and extra pin, you need 3. Now the instant strikes, you'll need to have 2 boxes marked before you can use one of those. So they've kind of turned this simple concept of shut the box into a bona fide roll and write. So it gives you a lot more options, but it's still pretty simple and straightforward of a game. You can still play it as shown before. It's just a little bit more choice involved rather than just playing shut the box with a plus or minus 1 ball. I still think both games are great, so let's go ahead and show how we play. So I rolled a 7, I crossed a 7, and I'm not really going over how to play on the basics again, but I'll go ahead and do so anyways. So you're allowed to mark up to 3 pins to match the sum total of the 2 dice. And if you're playing this with multiple people, you obviously should use 2 different colors of dice. That way you have a community dice and another dice for another player, unless you just want to repeat the same rolls. Either way is fine, whatever you want to do. So we're just going back and forth, and once we get to the second ball, then we'll be able to get those gray pins. Otherwise, we have to get a strike in order to mark those. So I went ahead and adjusted by 1, so I only have to do 10. Ended up using that 1 there. So now we're on the second ball. If I get the 3, I get to make a mark, and so I did. So I'm going to go ahead and get that 5-5 instantaneous strike icon crossed. So now I'll have that power for the rest of the game. That's one that lasts all game long. And as far as the rules were concerned, I was a little confused. I might have had it wrong. I'm thinking you only get it if you roll a 5-5 on the first roll, not necessarily the first ball. So I probably had that wrong in this so far. The scoring is still the same as far as doing bowling scores. If you get a spare, you get the total plus the next ball. If you get a strike, you get the total plus the next 2 balls. So obviously 3 strikes in a row could add up to 30 points. If you're confused, download a bowling calculator app. They're free, they're everywhere. But it's a pretty simple concept. I actually managed to score it correctly this time on the first attempt without even having to look up the bowling calculator. So just double check on how to do the simple arithmetic. So I got a spare there. So now, and I did get on the second ball, I did get one of the gray pins on the first try. But now the first 5 are over, and I didn't get enough to get anything else. So all I have is the 5-5 and the re-roll, the 1 re-roll per game. So I could still get an instantaneous strike, but I'm kind of limited on my special abilities. I only have the bowling balls themselves, which do accumulate, which so far I have actually 2 of them, and I could have used both at once, but in playing this game, I did not for whatever reason get that ability. So I should have been adding those bowling balls, and I should have probably used multiple balls at once. But other than that, I mean, still love the way this game plays. This was my first attempt at trying this new sheet, and I want to say it went fairly well. I really enjoyed it. I think this is the next, for me at least, it's the next Bahama Taxi. It's free, it's easy to get into, it's fun to play. It doesn't take a whole lot explaining. Now I'm adding up the bowling balls I hadn't used because now I could have easily had that if I would have used both. I'm not sure. Maybe I just didn't know the rules at the time. So I kind of skimmed through them before recording this. I should have paid a little bit better attention. I could have had a much better score. But other than that, yeah, I could have used both of those balls at once. Instead, they just accumulated to the next frame. And now I got a strike. Now I should have been marking an instantaneous strike. I should have had 2 of those boxes. I would have had an instantaneous strike to use. But again, I didn't really read through the rules all that well. And playing the first edition of this game, I kind of just kept it going. I wanted to really have some good luck. And so there I used it there. So now we got a spare. So that gives me the bonus. So I'll have 1 bonus. If I can get a strike, I'll get the next bonus. But, well, no, I'd only get 1 bonus either way. So now I'm double checking the phone to make sure I have all the rules correct. I actually had the rule book pulled up while I'm playing this. And let's see what happens with this bonus frame. So we got an 8, we got a 6, we got a 10, and we have a 2. And I'm in the habit of only doing 2 pins at once. You can do 3 if you can get the sum total of the 3 pins to add up. And that's going to be it. I failed. There's no bonus balls. There's no extra help on the bonus. So I got 137, which puts me about intermediate.
So if you like playing card games in public, do consider coming to our subreddit Card Game Meetups. If you click under the description, you'll find all the links to all the pertinent information, including a Discord server where we talk about card games, dice games, and board games, among other things. If you're having a vacation soon, do consider going to Branson, Missouri. They have a wonderful board game cafe where you can try new games, buy new games, and play with other players you haven't met before. It's a fun time, so do like and subscribe, and I'll see you next video.
And I want to thank today's musician Patrick Fisher for playing REO Speedwagon's Can't Fight This Feeling Anymore and allowing us to use it. Do check out his channel. He's got a lot of great content, a lot of great music. If you made it this far, tell me what your favorite sports team is in the comments.